I wanted to do today, parents can be toxic. That will be devastating and detrimental to children even when they get older. Some don't see it as toxic, but it's a fine line. A father, a mother, a step-parent, or even a caregiver can be harsh, controlling, and very demanding, and that can put a child at risk for long-term mental and physical abuse as an adult. They deeply are disturbing, and they do that to children sometimes. A lot of people don't think so, but it does happen. That in itself is deeply disturbing and should concern everyone. Signs that you might have a toxic parent include, but this is not all, but it does include, they're self-centered. They don't think about your needs or your feelings. It's only about them, and they want to relive their childhood. And they don't care really what you think. Sorry, you can't, and while trying to make your child miserable. You can't relive your childhood. And you're only making your child miserable, is what I'm trying to say. You are being toxic. They're emotional and loose cannons, in my opinion. They overreact or create drama. They overshare. They share improper information with you, like details about their intimate lives. They use you as a main source of emotional support. That should never be going on with a parent. Not between a parent and a child. That's just wrong. I don't care how old the child is. That's wrong. They seek control. They might use guilt and money to get you to do what they want. I'll pay you if you do this or that. Or I'll pay you if you don't do something. They're harshly critical. Nothing you do is ever good enough, or so it seems. They don't respect you or your traits. They don't expect your achievements. They don't ever tell you you're good enough. Listen, remember, your parents' inability to love and accept and value you aren't your fault. And it don't have anything to do whatsoever with your shortcomings. Please remember that. Always remember that nothing is wrong with you and you are not toxic. They are toxic. As you get older and you can make your own choices, break that cycle. Don't do that to your kids. Prioritize. Your immediate family's needs above your parents or anybody else's. That's what's important. At least limit how much time you spend with your parents and set boundaries. That is, if you have toxic parents. That's what I'm talking about today. Toxic parents. Because they are out there. Set boundaries. You can't change people, and you can't be perfect. So you can't say, oh, I'll be this golden child, and you can't think that in your mind. I'm the golden child. If I'm a perfect child or a perfect adult child, no. They have to be willing to change and put in the work themselves. And that goes for anybody and everybody. Some children, though, think, if I'm good, if I'm better, if I do this or if I do that, if I stop doing drugs or doing this or doing that or do the friends or do my chores or whatever, if I'm good, you are good. Stop that. It makes them think that their parents will stop drinking or doing drugs or what they're not supposed to do. That's not true. It's not true. And even if they do for a while, if they do it for you or somebody else, they will eventually fail. They have to do it for themselves. And that could be at anything, not just drinking and drugs, anything. That's just one example. It's normal to want to please your parents at any age, but let it go. Be realistic about whether it's possible and what your efforts are costing you emotionally, physically, mentally, financially, and spiritually. Because you are the one, do you hear me? You are the one important. And you have to look out for you. You, number one. The most harmful thing to do to yourself is believe you can fix them. You cannot. That goes for anyone. You cannot fix them. You can't fix nobody. Remember, your parents don't get a free pass to mistreat you simply because they're your parents. And you don't owe anyone any explanations. I always say writing helps, reading helps, listen to music, but you can also take a walk, exercise. You can also just walk away. Go for a drive, see things that you have never seen before. But start doing things for yourself and what's good for you. Don't allow a toxic person, I don't care who it is, a parent or a person who's toxic, to eat you up. Don't do that. You're here on this earth for a reason. Toxic people, they verbally abuse. They emotionally or psychologically abuse. Sometimes they're violent physically. They put their own needs first, always. They're sexually inappropriate, and they talk about sexually inappropriate things. They're very controlling. They're very harsh. They use harsh discipline and punishment. A toxic parent undermines a child's sense of self-worth, stability, and overall mental well-being. That's also abuse if you're not catching on, people, what I'm putting down. They might use verbal belittlement, emotional manipulation, and or physical intimidation to control their children. Here are the types of toxic parents, and indeed, these are toxic. You got your dismissive ones. The dismissive parent overlooks and determines their child's feelings and needs. They create an environment where the child feels unvalued and starts doubting their own self-worth, and they struggle with self-expression. This is the one I hate the most. Helicopter mom or helicopter parent. The helicopter parent hoovers over their child to an unhealthy extent. They micromanage every aspect of a child's life, and while it may appear to others, see, this is why I hate it so much, because others don't recognize it. They think, oh, this is the loving, doting parent. No, this is the worst damn kind of parent, in my opinion. But anyway, that helicopter parenting ultimately stifles the independence and hampers the development of the child, or even into adulthood's critical problem-solving skills. A lot of things. We'll get more into that in a minute. Then you got your narcissistic. The narcissistic parent centers every part of the family dynamics around themselves. Me, seeks or demands admiration and struggles to emphasize with everyone else. It includes their children's needs. Children raised by parents with a narcissistic tendency often have a difficult time establishing and maintaining healthy relationships later in life due to the environment they grew up in. Then you have your passive or permissive passive, also known as permissive parents, and they will avoid confrontation at all cost. They just avoid it. They have difficulty maintaining expectations for their children and typically won't set boundaries or demands. That tends to have little structure, and they rarely punish their children. Children who grow up with permissive parents can have a chaotic path in life, and they might struggle with authority, which can in turn, as you know, cause all kinds of problems, even criminal ones. Now, we're going to go back to helicopter moms. Well, parents, but mostly moms are the ones, more than men, that are just helicopter. But they can be caregiver and they can be men too. People think helicopter moms and dads are to be trusted, blessed, and praised. That's not true. In my opinion, those are the ones you really have to watch for. Helicopter parenting can negatively affect and impact children and hinder their ability to develop independence. And the children, the parents, they overcompensate, and they never allow their child to be who they really are or who they could be. They set up that child for many failures in life, and some go as far as doing the child's in life, their homework, their applications. They fill out papers for them, whether it be college or just they do things for them. They do everything for them. They never allow them their own identity, in my opinion. They may mean well, but they are causing more harm than good to their children. Or in cases you see parents who definitely are not helicopter moms, they want to start acting as such, like they need to prove to the world how good they are and or were to their kids, especially if they go missing or something like that. Oh my God, those are the worst. And I see right through them. Some never see through that though, and it's sad. Children of helicopter parents have not had the chance to develop problem-solving skills or deal with stress. They are more apt to turn to drugs and alcohol as a coping skill when stressed or challenged. And I'm talking about the child. They have more depression and anxiety. Also, they have this sense of failure, and they think it's in their head. Imagine if your parent always hovered over everything you did, not allow you to be you. Filled out every paper you did, all your homework, all your life. They just did it. They just took over. They didn't explain it. They just took over. And they filled out the papers to get you to college, and boom, one day you're there. You're in college in this big, evil-ass world. Maybe your parents are no longer alive. I don't know. Then you don't know what to do because they have set you up for failure. Maybe not intentional, but it happened. That's toxic. If you're a helicopter mom, give your child space. Allow them to be independent. Teach them. Prepare them. Your job is to teach them right from wrong. At least do that. Avoid making decisions for your children. Instead, offer guidance and helping them weigh their options of the pros and cons when it's bad or when it's good. Let them know. That's how they learn. I still learn as an adult myself, and you learn by your mistakes. We all make mistakes. When they make a mistake, help them through it. Don't belittle them or say, I told you so. I told you. That makes matters worse, in my opinion. Sometimes that's just what the toxic person wants. To be in charge and in control. I told you so. Now we do it my way. As far as homework or important things, it's okay to offer help. Teach them, but don't take over and don't do it for them. They'll never learn otherwise. And it makes them feel less than. Always let them know you're there and they can call you or they can talk to you about anything. You know, if they go out and they screw up and they get drunk and they need a ride home, let them know they can call you or they're in a situation. 24/7. Open up the door. Let them feel safe. Let them know that they can talk to you about anything and that they can trust you. You're their parent. They should be able to trust you. They should not have any qualms about coming to a parent for anything. Unfortunately, most people don't have that. But just remember, you are a parent first, not their friend. I've seen people as adults say they wish they had just that. And they also wish they had the proper discipline. Not beating with the belt. I ain't speaking about that or anything. They wish their parents cared enough to actually sit down, explain stuff to them. They wish they actually would have got grounded. Things like that. And the ones that did do appreciate and have learned. If you're an adult and you had to deal with that, then try to be forgiving for nothing else but for yourself and your own peace of mind. You may feel overwhelmed by certain tasks and responsibilities if you were raised by helicopter parents, but be patient with yourself. Remember, patience makes perfect, and you can do it. You can do anything you set your mind to do. I have no doubt about that. Ask for help if it's needed. There's no shame in that. Now, as adults, sometimes a true narcissistic parent will continue to abuse his or her children, even as they turn adults. Generally, they believe that they exist for their own needs. Child abuse is associated with many things. People can't cope with financial things. Money is the root of all evil. Good Lord. Drugs, alcohol, social isolation, and depression. Abused children are more likely to abuse. About 30% of children becoming abusive parents themselves. Neglect is the most common form of abuse, followed by physical and sexual. That's horrible. It's horrible in the world we live in, folks. Drug and alcohol is a significant contributor to child abuse, pushing the risk 3 times higher for physical abuse and making neglect 4 times as prevalent. Other risk factors could be social isolation, depression, lower levels of parental education, and a history of being mistreated as a child. I mean, think about it. If you're depressed, right, and you also stay in most of the time, you're feeling isolated. But sometimes those type just snap. Or, you know, they do a lot of harm to their children because, unfortunately, those children are innocent. But unfortunately, those children are isolated as well. Look, so much can be said on this and surrounding topics, but if you know anyone truly abused and needs help, just stop it. Call the National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4-A-CHILD. Also, if you know an adult who is being abused, or you are an adult being abused, report that. Report suspected abuse, neglect, or financial exploitation of an adult, especially an adult 60 years of age or older with disabilities. You can call 24 hours a day Adult Protective Services 866-800-1409 or 888-206-1327 for TTY. And if they live in a nursing home, oh my God, I have seen this firsthand. If they live in a nursing home and you feel there's abuse going on, let them know there are numbers that can be called. And believe it or not, they will go out, adult services will go out and check on those patients. You're never alone. Sometimes you may think you're alone, but you're never alone. You can reach elder care, but at 1-800-677-1116, specially trained operators will refer you to a local agency that can help you. The elder care locator is up Monday through Friday from 9 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got to watch out for our kids, folks. Our kids, our adult kids that think, our teens, you know, that think they have nowhere to turn. There's adults that think they have nowhere to turn. There's older people, disabled, people in faculties. Because there's people out there that have absolutely no regard for life. And things happen every day. And these people need to be checked on. And they need to be helped if possible. And the word needs to get out. There's no shame in it. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.